Howdy folks, this is Mile High 6 here, back in with a new video, all that stuff. And today I'll be doing my NFC Divisional Predictions. It's not predicted for wild cards, not predicted for who's going to be the top seed, who's going to be the bottom seed. This is who I think is going to finish at the top of the division, and who's going to be the jobbers of the division. So I hope you enjoy this video, and if your team makes it at the bottom, I'm sorry. And if your team makes it at the top, well, I have some confidence in your team. So, yeah, let's see ya later. Let's start off with the NFC South, the most interesting division, really, because of a few names. Number 4 in the South, I got the Carolina Panthers, and there's a few reasons why I got the Panthers at last place in the South. And I think the South's gonna have like decent, okay records, but not the best. Like additions, Robbie Anderson at receiver, great to give Teddy Bridgewater weapons. They drafted well. They got Derek Brown, but no, they have a lot of change. Luke Kuechly retired. Greg Olsen went to the Seahawks. Cam Newton is gone. So there's a lot of change, and I think also they have Matt Rule as their head coach. I think they'll have, at worst, they'll have 5 wins. 5 to 7 wins is my max, really. So I got them at last place in the division, competing with the Falcons for last place, really. Number 3 in their division, I got the Atlanta Falcons, the 28-3s, and they got Todd Gurley on his last legs, literally. They drafted AJ Terrell a little bit too high, but I think he'll be a decent corner. They still got Julio, Calvin Ridley. I know they lost Austin Hooper. It's their offense that's going to be carrying that team. Their defense is a different story. Dan Quinn, he's probably going to get fired after the season if they don't make the playoffs. But with this division, it's going to be hard. I see them as a 5 to 7 win team, really. I know it's hard, but they won 7 games last year, and now they got they still have a good offense. No, that's what they're pride themselves on. And let's move on to the next team. I got going second place in the South, and it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe the hype. They drafted Dredrick Wills to protect Tom Brady. Their defense is not as bad as people think. They got Shaquille Barrett, Devin White. They got a decent amount of players on their defense. It's not perfect. O-line's not perfect, but they got Brady at quarterback. They got rid of Jameis Winston, the turnover machine. They got plenty of weapons. O.G. Howard and Gronkowski at tight ends. I don't know if they're going to use 2 tight end sets. I don't know. They got Mike Evans. They got who the fuck? Goodwin. That's a speedy receiver. They got plenty of weapons, and Bruce Arians a good coach. Tom Brady didn't want to go to anywhere. He wanted to go to a place where there was a good coach. And so Arians and Brady in the core, I think they'll win 10 to 12 games, really. Just cranking into second place. They have a solid squad. I believe in the Buccaneers to be a contender for the Super Bowl. I know the Super Bowl's in Tampa, and usually that's a curse, but they're obviously a contender, and it's not just because of Brady, because they got their quarterback and a bunch of weapons around them. So Buccaneers, I got them at second in their division. And number 1 in the division, I got the Who Dat Saints, the New Orleans Saints. Number 1, I think they had a decent offseason. They acquired Michael Jenkins, bringing him back to the Saints. He won them a Super Bowl back in 2009 against the Colts. They got Emmanuel Sanders to complement Michael Thomas. They got Alvin Kamara at running back as always. Drew Brees. This could be his final year. They got Jameis Winston as backup, so that's Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill at backup. So I think those are good options as backup. But obviously it's Drew Brees' year. This could be the last year of contention for the Saints, really, to try to win that Super Bowl. I see them 11 to 13 wins should be their max, should be their goal. I see them winning this division, possibly being top 2 seed, and it's shown. It's shown. They got a center in the first round. Yeah, who cares? But like, yeah, they got a center, but it helps their O-line, and then they got a nice piece to complement their defense in Zach Bond in the second round. So I think this is a solid team, solid Saints team that's going to win this division prior to any like big injuries or anything like that. And let's move on to the next division. I call this division the flip-flop, not really consistent division, the NFC East. No, 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 no. Last place. Alright, obviously, everyone's picking the Redskins to be last place. Since Alex Smith, had that bad injury that was very similar to Joe Theismann, Redskins have been complete trash, and I think it's not really. I think they'll improve slightly. They won 3 games last year. I think they're gonna win 4 to 6 games, in my opinion. Nah, 4 to 5 games really. Um, yeah. Dwayne Haskins is the quarterback, so it's not gonna flip flop between Case Keenum and him. They got some good, decent receivers. They got Chase Young, the best defensive player in the draft, selected at number 2. Adrian Pearson still kicking. Um, they got Sweat. They got a lot of young talent. They just have to gel. But unfortunately, under Dan Snyder, I don't really see this team going that far because their health staff sucks. Because look what happened to Trent Williams. So their next young star is probably going to go. I know they re-signed Brandon Scherf. They did a lot of good things, but at the same time, it's the Redskins. They're going to get pummeled by the Giants. They're going to get pummeled by the Eagles. They're going to get pummeled by the rest of the division, the Cowboys. And, good luck to the Redskins, man. They did some good things, but at the same time, they're going to be last place. Yes, the New York Football Giants. I got them at 3rd place in the division. Yeah, they done a lot of things in the offseason. Got James Bradbury at corner, Blake Martinez at linebacker. Got Deion Lewis to back up Saquon. We got a new coach, new coordinators, all that jazz. Gave us their head coach, so thank you, G-Man. I think Pat Trimmer will do well in Denver. They had a good draft. They got Andrew Thomas to protect Daniel Jones, hopefully. And then they got Xavier McKinney to add safety help to pair up with Peppers. I see him going 5-7 wins, really, is their max, in my opinion. Yeah, I think they'll improve a lot, and that's all they really need to do as a team. I think their games will be a little bit closer than last year. They'll be more competitive, but I don't see them going to the playoffs, but you never know. Daniel Jones has to stop fumbling, really. It cringes me seeing Daniel Jones fumble the ball all the time. Just gets a little tap and then the ball just comes loose. But you know what? Daniel Jones is a good young QB. He had solid stats last year. I believe in him. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks out of that class. Everyone knows my favorite. But yeah, I think the Giants will have a good improvement season. This is, Gettleman. Really, job is on the line if they don't get 7 wins, in my opinion, if they don't improve. And yeah, let's move on to number 2 in the division. Number 2 in the division, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. And yeah, for one reason, Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz carried that team throughout last year. 9-7 record, really no receivers, a bunch of injuries, but it was all Carson Wentz, really. Now they got a rookie receiver in Jalen Reagor. They got Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round, which was a controversial pick. Everyone knows it was a controversial pick. But they said they will use him in a Taysom Hill type role, so I don't know. Like, maybe he'll be a receiver at one point, he'll be a runner at one point. I don't know, maybe he'll pass. I don't know. He's going to be a backup and like a Taysom Hill utility guy. Eagles, they lost like Jordan Howard. I forgot like anybody who they signed really. But, Doug Peterson's his offense, Andy Reid type style. Hopefully, like, they have their, shit, I keep forgetting. Hopefully they're healthy, unlike last year's, tragic season because, they kept getting hurt. And divisional round they lost to the not divisional round, wild card round lost to the Seahawks. I see them winning 7 to 9 games. To be honest, I see them being second place in the division. And now let's go on to my first uh team in the East. Jeez, I can't bumbling. Well, unfortunately, I have this team at number one, but they've done everything to convince me. The Dallas Cowboys. All right. Yes, they lost Byron Jones and a few other guys in free agency, but people thought they were going to lose Cooper. No, they didn't. They re-signed Amari Cooper. Great job. They tagged Dak. They got HaHa Clan Dix. They got, I think, Gregory or whoever, defensive tackle or something. And in the draft, they got two premium guys in the first and second round. CeeDee Lamb, top 3 receiver in the draft, obviously. Um, and they got Trayvon Diggs directly to replace Byron Jones. They were one of the best offenses last year, despite going 8-8. And they got rid of Jason Garrett, sending him to their rival, the Giants. They got a new coach, Mike McCarthy. They got a solid backup in Andy Dalton, just in case Dak gets injured or he pulls off a fucking holdout or anything like that. Um, yeah, I got the Cowboys winning 10 to 12 games, right? 10 to 13 games? No, 10 to 13 games, to be honest. I think they're a pretty good, improved team. Obviously, it'll be one and done, probably losing to the Packers, but at the same time, I got them winning the division. Now let's get to the coldest division, the NFC North, eh? We got the Pencilman Crew, the Detroit Lions, and the biggest reason why they weren't that good last year is they kept flip-flopping quarterbacks between Jeff Driscoll and the French quarterback guy. I forgot his name. Um, they traded away Darius Slay. I think that's okay. That's okay if you want to rebuild. They keep getting former New England Patriots because of what's Matt Patricia. Jeff Okuda is going to be a solid corner in the draft. Unfortunately, he's probably going to retire early. I got the Lions winning 3 to 5 games. Really, I think them like one of the worst teams in the league. To be honest, I think they'll tank, and I think they'll move on from Matthew Stafford once they get a new coach. I don't think Matt Patricia's the guy, obviously, for the future. If he proves me wrong by winning like 7 games, then I don't know. Obviously Patricia's biggest win was against the Patriots, but at the same time he keeps signing former Patriots. Um, yeah, I'm sorry, Lions fans, but I don't think your team's gonna be that good. Okay, coming in at number 3 is the Chicago Bears. Okay, you can't deny their defense of Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson, um, what's it, Trave, what is this? Oh, Danny Trevathan. Yeah, they have a solid defense. Obviously, they get to the quarterback quick. Their offense, I really don't know. Their receivers, they drafted a couple tight ends. They have Jimmy Graham, but he's not the same guy. Trubisky keeps drinking a lot of whiskey, but they're slightly better than they're better than the Lions because of their defense, really. Cohen's not a bad running back. Decent return guy, and Patterson. But I have a feeling that Nick Foles is just gonna turn that team around. Really, I see him winning 7 to 9 games. Really, like I really lean on 7 or 8 wins, but I can see him winning 9 if defense just steps up and Nick Foles just comes in the clutch halfway through the season. Um, yeah, I like the Bears defense. Obviously, everyone does. It just like last year they collapsed. Really, they were 3-1, and then they collapsed their season, finishing off I think 8-8. Yeah, that's why I think the Bears are going to be third. Hey y'all, so the Vikings, I got them at number 2 in the division. I think they can win 9 to 12 games. Really, I'm kind of mixed on them. They lost a lot of old guys on defense, but at the same time, they lost Trey Wayans, they lost Xavier Woods. I mean, Rhodes to burn toast. that got rid of Anderson Griffith, but they still have a solid defense. They still have a solid defense by the Vikings. They obviously trade away Stephon Stephon Diggs to the Bills. For a first round pick, they got Justin Jefferson. They. I think they had a solid draft. The Vikings. They still have Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins. You know, he's Mr. Monday Night. They got Devin Cook at running back, who's pretty good. Yeah, I think they can be a playoff team in my opinion. Still, even without Diggs, they got a guy to replace him basically. Yeah, I got the Vikings at number 2 in the NFC North. At number 1, I got the Green Bay Packers winning 10 to 12 games. I think this is gonna be a very close division, but I'm picking the Packers to win the division. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is going to carry that squad with Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, and we got Kristen Kirksey, even though they lost Blake Martinez in free agency. In the draft, I know they had one of the worst drafts. A.J. Dillon, why did they need another running back? Why did they select Jordan Love? They traded up to get him. But they still have a solid team, still have a solid offense. Matt LaFleur, I think, had a great first year, got his team to the NFC Championship game. So I think they can win 10 to 13 games really. Um, yeah, they can compete with the Saints, in my opinion, to be those top 2 spots in the NFC. Um, and yeah, that's why I'm picking the Packers to be number 1 in the division. The Lions are gonna be worse. The Bears, Trubisky. That's all I gotta say. And the Vikings lost a few people, but I think it's gonna be a competitive division. But I got the Packers winning the division. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wild Wild West. Talk about a complete Super Bowl slump, hangover, whatever you want to call it, slapping you right in the fucking face. The LA Rams are complete garbage, but I still got them like winning, I don't know, 4 to 6 games really. In my opinion, I think they're gonna be dead last in the division. They still got a lot of weapons. They got Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Um, I know they got rid of Todd Gurley, but it was his time. They got rid of Clay Matthews. Um, they have an okay defense, but they keep losing pieces every day. They got rid of Wade Phillips on defense, so sorry, your defense is gonna get worse once you get rid of Wade Phillips. I learned it the hard way. Um, yeah, I got the Rams being dead last. Their logo sucks. They're gonna move into a new stadium. They have to share it with the damn Chargers. Um, Jared Goff's not a good quarterback, really. Um, their coach, what's his name? McVay. Sean McVay's a good coach. I don't know. They need a new quarterback in LA, man. They have a lot of weapons, but I think they're gonna finish dead last in the West. Maybe top 5 in the picks, maybe to get a quarterback. I don't know. Um, yeah, they're gonna be dead last in the most hyped teams of the off season. The Arizona Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury and crew are doing pretty well. The Biswalds, all the people who own the Cardinals, I think they had a good job in the offseason. Obviously, the DeAndre Hopkins trading away David Johnson, for DeAndre Hopkins, was one of the best trades in Cardinals history. Basically, pairing him up with old man Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, Kenron Drake at running back. They acquired Jordan Phillips off season. Drafted what's his name? Isaiah Simmons at linebacker. Pretty solid pickup in the first round, and then Josh Jones in the second round, offensive tackle to protect Kyler so he won't run for his life. I'm very high on the Cardinals. Obviously they play in this tough division with the Seahawks and Niners. I see them winning 8 to 10 games really for real. They have for real. Their defense may have to work on some things because of Vance Joseph terrible coordinating. But if they can improve their defense, they already improved their O-line by getting Jones, and hopefully Kyler doesn't run for his life all the time. But obviously he has the weapons to have a solid offense going there in Arizona in the red zone. Maybe they can get attendance going again because obviously Arizona is pretty hot and a lot of visiting fans go there. So maybe they can get their attendance back and make a playoff run. So yeah, I believe in the Cardinals, and that's why I'm putting them at number 3. This is a shocker, but I got the defending NFC champions at number 2 in their division. I think they'll have a Super Bowl hangover, but obviously I think they'll make the playoffs in my opinion. Niners, they will probably win between 10 and 12 games in my opinion. They still have a great defense. D Ford, Nick Bosa. They still have Sherm the Worm. They traded away DeFons Buckner for a first round pick, but they replaced him with Javon Kinlaw, and then they got a receiver later in the draft. Jimmy G, I still think he's a good quarterback. It's just Kyle Shanahan choked that game, in my opinion, in the Super Bowl. I think they'll be back in the playoffs. I don't think they'll be back in the Super Bowl. I think they had their one chance. I don't think their contention is completely shut. They can shock the world, go back to back Super Bowls and win it. But at the same time, Niners couldn't. I don't think teams really recover from this. Especially with Kyle Shanahan. Look what happened to the Falcons. Um, what else I gotta say? They have a good running game with Coleman and Mostert. Um, yeah, I think they'll be number 2 in the division. Nothing really to worry about. Niner fans, they're not going to change by much, but they won't be on that big run like they did last year, like 13-0, and then lose to the Seahawks. That was pretty funny in my opinion. So yeah, nothing to worry about. Niner fans, the team's going to be solid and probably going to make the wild card, maybe the 5th seed, and yeah. Here's a team that's been the definition of consistency in the decade, really. The Detroit Red Wings of the decade, the Seattle Seahawks making the playoffs 8 of the last 10 years in the decade. They have solid receiving weapons in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Christian Chris Carson, I meant, is a decent running back. Defense is still, obviously weaker than in the past, but still okay under Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's a solid coach. Russell Wilson, despite the terrible O-lines behind him, has been carrying the team. I know they drafted the linebacker Brooks over Patrick Queen, but you know what? If it fits the scheme for the Seahawks defense, then why not? They got the Griffin brothers on defense. Yeah, they have a solid defense, and I think they'll win the division. I think the Niners are gonna have a hangover, and I think the Seahawks are gonna become kings of that division again this year. Um, and yeah, I hope you liked my picks for 2020 NFC Division playoffs. I mean predictions. Hit the subscribe button and all that. I know this has been a long video, but that's why I'm putting it in Premiere so you can have a chat and stuff. So yeah, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. If I picked your teams to be bottom of your division, I'm sorry. That's my opinion. And yeah, other than that, Mahawk 6 signing out. Peace.